Hi guys, I'm just waiting again. YouTube actually, just to confirm that we can see and hear ourselves as well. Let me just double check that we got it right. Just a second. I think I got it right. Yeah, I can hear myself. I can see myself, and then I'll bring Mondays here as well. So morning, everyone, or afternoon, or evening, whenever you're watching this. So um I was just talking to Amanda how good that feels like to for us. It's like, it's first thing, not first thing, but like, one of the first things that we see in the morning as well. So we jump live and we can have this chats and we can share some of the healings that are happening in our life, in our family. I shared a little bit and I'll share more during the call as well. As usual, we just have like a 5-10 minutes sometimes just to catch up to see how we're feeling, and of course deciding what we're going to share with you guys. And the main word that came up today, I think it's joy. I feel that will be a beautiful word to work with. And as Amanda was sharing, her experience with joy this weekend as well, and like some of the blocks of the resistances that we have with joy as well sometimes. I shared a little bit of what happened like a few weeks ago as well when I came back from a trip from Brazil to London. Then and then I went to see this like a yeah, a therapist, a friend of mine, a client of mine as well, and friend. And it's interesting, like I'm so blessed as well, just like as I'm just sharing here as well. I have so many clients that became friends, like Amanda as well. Do you see what I mean? And she was, my therapist as well, and helped me, like as I said earlier, in some of the most kind of, challenging but also transformational moments of my life. And I feel honored to have, people like Amanda around me and shining her light, and also to help and support and to see things that I couldn't see on my own. But like going back to this conversation, and I was going through, it was a quite long session. It was about 2 hour sessions as well. And we were going through, the feelings and the emotions, and I was kind of feeling blocked and all the stuff. And it was interesting, like to feel like a truth that I felt inside of me, which I couldn't truly enjoy or be at, feel joy or feel happy or enjoy a holiday. And then I just trace back as well that usually when I go on holidays, even though like I created, the freedom of being working from home or working from a different country, like I've done, a few years ago and everything, I would feel like, no, I can't just enjoy this. I have to be working. I have to be doing something to deserve this, and so on. Yes, there is a specific memory that goes back, like when I was a kid, and when I was like 3 or 4 years old, and I'm going to know that story as well. When I was taken, out of the car when my family went to go for a trip or holidays, and there's so many different meanings that I put into it as a kid that I wasn't aware of. And like one of them is, oh, they went for holidays, they can enjoy it, but I can't. I'm not, allowed to enjoy it. And then it's interesting, like this, you allowing, those healings to happen, and to those meanings that we put back then can transform, and and actually bring us back to who we are, and to use that as a tool as well to help other people to, to see things in a different way as well. But and then Amanda had a beautiful, experience this weekend around joy as well. So yeah.
I love that. And good morning, everyone that's listening, whether it's live or later on. The energy's now, isn't it? And we're here with you. And
Yeah.
I love you sharing that because it's so authentic, isn't it? And it's transparent and it's honest. And there's an integrity there to be vulnerable, like things we talked about last week, isn't it? You're willing to share these deeper things. To show people that they're not on their own with this. We've all got things that we're healing and clearing, and there are no new thoughts, conditionings. As we share things that we're healing, we know there'll be people listening to this that can say, well, the circumstances were different, but I know that feeling. And I love the fact when you and I speak, we always going, oh, morning. It's always so nice to be in each other's light as well. I always feel that the mind has an idea that there is a finite amount of light and joy, but our souls know that there's an infinite amount of light and joy. And so that the mind can sort of say, well, in its very egoic, separated false self that hasn't reconnected to its wholeness and resilience and the light of itself and the light of source energy, whatever you want to call them, it's God, universe, life, that resilience and that holding within, that there's a finite amount of light, there's an infinite amount of joy and light, and we're all a unique vibration. Life wants that uniqueness to shine in whatever way it's meant to shine in this world. And I love how Julie and I were saying that by us doing this, we're hearing the words that we need to hear as well, and the healings that we're getting. And I had such a beautiful weekend. My daughter's 17th, lots of celebrations. It was wonderful. But as all this light and joy was coming up, as we said in previous episodes, the more light and joy we are, anything that doesn't match that anymore, sometimes it can just be beautifully brought back into the light, and we're not really aware that anything happened. I think that's a big part of our healing. But there was quite a big one. I was thinking there's a contrast here. There's so much joy. There was so much I was grateful for. We're in such a good place as a family. I have such good friends. I'm loving what Gina and I are doing. It feels like we're contributing. It feels like we're on purpose. And I'm thinking, well, what is this in my chest? It's almost like it's not allowing me to really feel this joy and this love and this liberation and this freedom to just, whoa, be happy. So we did what you and Gina and I are sharing. I felt into it. I took some breaths. I calmed myself down. I became very conscious, very self-aware. I tapped into my higher self, the universe that adores me. I felt safe in my body. I felt okay to feel this resistance. And my mind wanted to fix it. My mind was the go-to. It was the, what is this way? We need to understand it. Take a breath. Just hold it. Just feel it. You're safe to hold this feeling. And it was about a minute and a half of just feeling it. And a part of me really didn't want to, because it was saying, don't go into this because you're not safe. You need this to keep safe. And I kept reassuring that part of me, it's okay. There's obviously something here that wants to be listened to. And my initial thought was, there's a part of me that needs to be loved. And there was a part that needed to be loved, but it was underneath this dense heaviness. So as I was just holding it and feeling it, breathing into the resistance, breathing into, saying to my mind, it's okay, bringing in the energies that we talked about last week, we have that safe place. So I just go backwards and forwards a little bit so I could really tune into feeling safe. And what came up was this voice very strongly within me that said, how dare you shine your lights? How dare you be joyful and happy? You take care of me first. But it was an energy that wasn't me. It was something I'd taken on. So it was a belief, it was a conditioning, but it was a bit like your life depends on this. So I knew it came from being very young, and I knew it was ancestral healing, because there was a feeling of, there was a threat there of, seriously, if you shine your light and take away from me, you're not safe. And there was that threat of that. So I'm not saying as a child, if I'd shone my light, I would have been murdered, but there was a threat. There was there was this sort of an energetic understanding. And I used to, my background's veterinary, and I used to be in theatre. And so I've seen tumours and lumps being removed and taken away and sent for histology. And so I knew that this energy needed to be returned back to source. So I just said, whoever's involved in its creation is pardoned and forgiven. This energy is taken back to source, which could be life, universe, God, and it's healed to completion completely now. And so it is. And then for me, how that happened, it can vary for different people. I just said, I'm ready for this to be taken back into the light. So for me, there were certain energies that came forward, and there was almost a physical handing over of this huge tumorous mass. It was big and it was pulsating. It was an alive thing, a bit like a parasite, but I knew it wasn't part of my well-being system. but it was an energy that deserved to be healed and loved. So I handed it over, like I physically took it out and handed it over. And yes, I'll be honest, it was Jesus and Mary Magdalene that came forward, and my dad, who has passed on, my grandma, and they said, right, we're going to heal this. This deserves to be healed and loved. And I knew that was my bit done. It was in their hands now. And I didn't know if that is willing to be healed or if it wants to stay in darkness, and they will respect that. But my part in that's done. And then what came forward, it makes me want to cry again. It was this: my higher self, my future self, the energies around came and said, you're safe to shine now in whatever unique way that is. And I think I've shared with Junior about a beautiful friend. She's a supermarket checkout woman. But the healings that happen through that checkout is phenomenal. And she knows that because she meets all these people throughout her day, and she tunes into their energy and she heals them. So for me, she's the unsung hero. You know, no one knows the work she does. I know she tells me about it, but I don't think she shares with many other people. But I mean, she's had profound healings with people going through her checkout that she communes with. She feels into their energy. And I think what came through for me was, we all have a unique vibration of light and value. And whatever that is, no one's more valuable than anybody else, however that seems to shine into the world. Sometimes it will be on a world stage, sometimes it's very much the unsung hero. We're all part of it. The vet I used to work with, the boss who spoke to everybody the same, whether you were the cleaner, whether you were a partner, whether you were a potential wealthy client, he spoke to everybody the same. As a young girl working with him, I remember observing that and really learning a lot from him. His ability to just appreciate everybody for the gifts they're bringing forward. So I think that's what June and I wanted to share today.
I
That
I I love him on the how much life, source, God, however we call it, it gives, they puts these heroes or these people around our life, like you mentioned your boss, what I mean, at the vet or the veterinarian,
yeah,
showing you a way of looking at people in the
yeah,
same eyes, for example.
yeah,
This story of the lady at the cash out, I mean, when I heard that the first time, and it's connected so much because she is truly engaging with the conversation with people,
yeah,
helping people to see things in a different way, just during those, I don't know, 2 3 5 minutes that she's doing the checkout is just amazing. And
yeah,
it can transform someone's life from that moment. Sometimes you're like just doing your things in there on the checkout, but someone's actually wake you up and bring you to your light back. How
yeah,
are you today? Genuinely, wanting to know how you're feeling and everything. And we don't know, the impact from that on, for example, having your day feeling better, that will impact into your, your kids and to your friends or into myself. Your conversations that you shared transformed the way that I looked, I mean, the world that looked, someone who is actually helping me at the cash out and so on.
yeah,
So I think that's, it's beautiful. The other thing that I want to bring up as well, it's interesting. I read a book a while back called, I think it's The Big Leap. I can't remember the author now. And he talks about, I think it's The Big Leap from, I can't remember the author. And now, if you have a look on that afterwards, I'm sure if you look online as well. Um, but it's interesting that this is not are normal. When you feel a certain amount of joy, that it's almost like something will happen, what I mean, that would bring to awareness for something else that you get to heal in yourself. And
yeah,
it's not like, I don't know, God, the universe punishing you, or someone else punishing you or anything. Like, it's interesting what Amanda was sharing. She had, her daughter's birthday, you connecting with so many people, so much joy bringing up. And the same, as soon as you're sharing that, the image that I got is like, you have all this light that you can actually see some dark spots that you wouldn't be able to see if the light wasn't there. Do you see? And as soon as you see that, then it becomes more evident. You can go there and clean it. You can go there and remove it. And I feel that these moments of joy, happiness, and then we feel like, oh, of course that would happen. You see something else happen afterwards. It's nothing more than the light showing you, oh, there's something here that we
Yeah.
haven't cleaned it yet. Do you see?
Yeah.
That we haven't, let that go. And sometimes it can be quite strong. It can feel like it has its own life, like Amanda was sharing. It can feel like, yeah, like a cancer or, a malignant thing and everything else. And that is okay. It's not for us to be afraid of it. And I know in some moments we're gonna need, to go to the hospital and have a surgery. Do you see what I mean? You might need to have specialist doctors and everything else to help you to remove that tumor from you.
Absolutely.
And on a spiritual level, an emotional level, you might need some support on that sense as well. You might be able to do it yourself, like, Amanda done now, but even though she had some support from other energies that we can relate with. Like last week we joked a little bit, but saying truth, Beyonce came, and gave that power to your, client and friend.
Yeah.
And this time, for Amanda was Jesus and Mary Magdalene, and it might be the same, people coming back again, and her father who passed away, and so on. And for you, it might be something we don't know. It could be, that sun came and, removed that. It could be that the stars helped you. And this is why I feel it's
Mm.
so beautiful to see throughout the history how we connect with different energies, with different, what we, they used to call gods or anything else, like saying, the sun, the moon, and the, I don't know, like narcissist, and, different gods in Greek, and, in Greek history. But they are
Yeah.
nothing more than, what our imagination allow us to connect with ourselves, with what I spoke to you guys earlier as well, with the truth of who we really, really are, above anything, above the thought of like, I'm not able to feel joy, I can't feel joy, or if you feel joy, something bad will happen. And you
Yeah.
can see that all of those things are happening inside here, and we can have some support. And that support can be an internal support that you can bring an energy in and help you, and have that doctor to actually remove the tumor from you, take it away, transform into light, or transform, this, let it be. Or it can be, a fellow friend from this, time and space. It could be like going and seeing a therapist, like I just mentioned. As soon as I came back from Brazil, it felt good to connect with, someone that a friend of mine, client, refer as Siri to.
Yeah, mine did as well. Okay.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know. Did I speak Siri or something?
Yeah, my Siri that never works just spoke up. So
So, but then yeah, but then sometimes you might need some support as well, and
Mm.
sometimes you need a little bit of practice as well on how to. And I'll go back to that idea of how to brush your teeth on a daily basis, because you're gonna be eating stuff, you're gonna be, enjoying stuff with the life and everything else, and you get to do a little cleanup at the end of the day or the beginning of the morning when you do your,
Yeah.
mental hygiene in that sense.
And I love all this, Gina, because what we're saying isn't because we're wanting to share the ways to do that. And I love that we're saying that there are slightly different ways that life will bring that healing, allow whatever needs to be returned to light, to allow more of our light of our high self to shine through. And I think you and I have joked before that sometimes it can be an advert on the television. They'll say something you think, I really needed to hear those words today, or a beautiful friend or a professional that just has got that thing that you need to heal. And healings that we've done within, for me, I don't know, maybe there was a cancerous tumor developing, I don't know, but I'm not saying that I was diagnosed with cancer, but what was taken away. And I think that's what we're saying as well. Sometimes it's that we can take on a conditioning or a belief that can sometimes gain a momentum within itself and almost have a consciousness of its own. So whatever was taken from here, which really was over my heart, it truly had forgotten that it was light. and that he didn't have to take from others to be okay. It was its own power source, and it was joyful thinking about that lump now, with Jesus and Mary Magdalene and Florence Nightingale. She comes up for me as well, and my dad was quite funny, and I know it's given every opportunity to return to the source it is. So as I'm sitting here now, I know it will, because it's time for it to return to light. And there was a strong family member who I know imprinted that on me, where that came from. So I know for her, she was imprinted with that. So there's no blame in this. We're not, are we saying that, we're not. And even if that comes up, we're able to love that part of ourselves and say, blame and judgment, it's about returning to our light source. And it's that light source that gives us that resilience, that strength, that inner power, that self-nurturing, self-partnering, self-parenting. When we allow any parts of ourselves that aren't that, it can be returned to source. And as Junior says, sometimes I've worked with people, it's gone to the stars. Often in me, we've got a big tree outside our house. The roots will come in and they'll take the energy and take it back into the earth, where it's returned to life source energy again. It gets a little frog energy that comes in. Who knew? So it's by doing what Gina and I are sharing, it's knowing that there isn't a right or wrong way in that moment. But when you're open to trusting yourself and trusting that life wants you to be that wholeness, that light that you are, that joy, that space, that calm, that relaxation, the trust, the faith, the bliss, just the calmness, that's who we really are. And there is a unique vibration to that. As you're listening to this, you'll recognize the vibration uniqueness of Junior. You'll recognize there's a slight difference in me. And it's like looking at colors, isn't it? We're all of various lights, lots of different colors, and we're all a mass of different things and qualities. But when we're that purity of who we are, it can shine through in the way it's meant to shine through, and there's no fear there. It's fearless in that, and it's not involved in any power strategies or manipulations or games. So there's a discernment there, isn't there? There's a recognition of, is this foot on this path right for me? No. Sometimes we'll know why, and we retract and go another way, and we just start to trust what something feels like for us. And then we know that whatever was on that path, it's on its journey of returning back to the light. And we realize that, I know for me, a big part of me was, well, if I continually feed people the light, they'll remember they're the light. And there's a healthy balance in that. That was my own wounds of, if you're okay, I can be okay. It's my job to heal you. It's too painful for me to see you suffering. I've got to take away your suffering. It hurts too much. All the things we've talked about before. So as I've come back into more and more into my wholeness, and Junior, you're saying the same, we kind of trust our higher self can come in, or even our future consciousness will come in and say, we can always be compassionate and empathetic, but we know sometimes when we need to give somebody or something space for them to reconnect with the wholeness that they are, because that's ultimately what we want people to do. And sometimes people need shining light and nurturing and love to remember that. And sometimes it can be by stepping back a little bit and giving somebody else space. It can be, I trust you and I have faith in you, and I know this is a chance for you to go within. It's always about going within. No matter what we're doing, it's always about going within. And then we can create from the outside. So it's always seeing that person or that situation in its wholeness, its fruition, its light, its joy, its potential. And then we can let anything be what it needs to be and trust what our part in that is. So for us, I know a constant thing we talk about is our inspiration of why are we doing this? Because we can see a world where everyone is shining their light. They are being their unique self. It's a world of love and unity and compassion and understanding. And if you're okay, I'm okay. And there's no battle anymore. There's no need for dominance. There's none of that. All that's gone. We're now living in a world where it's open and safe and trusting and completely vulnerable. And there is no God there. We all just trust we are who we are, even if someone's completely different to us. And God, isn't that amazing? When God created, when the universe created flowers, look how many different variety of flowers there are. And isn't that wonderful? You get a bouquet of flowers, you want there to be different types of flowers. And that's the same with our souls and our personalities. We're meant to all have a unique vibration of beauty and light, because the daisy is just as beautiful as the rose, isn't it? We can have I don't know, I feel more drawn towards the daisy. Maybe it's simplicity and its light I love, but we can appreciate the rose and its fragrance and its beautiful complexity as it blossoms and opens. We can appreciate that and get something from that as the rose unfolds. The lily, that's important in Buddhism, isn't it? Because they can see that for the lily to open and flower on the surface, all we see is that beautiful flower. Its roots are very much embedded in the mud beneath, and it's grown out of that mud, hasn't it? Risen to the surface and is shining its light for the world to see. And that's why I think Buddhism loves the water lily, because it can see our journey in that. And that's why stories of metamorphosis, the frog, the butterfly, we're very much the same, aren't we? We're growing out of the chrysalis of the conditioned mind. And there's a willingness to do that and feel that. And everyone's in a different place with that. And it's okay where you are. But I think we're saying there has to be that recognition of, yeah, I'm ready to do this. And when we go into resistance, we're not saying it's an easy thing to do and you should be doing it. We recognize it can be painful and it can be scary. We recognize that. But the more you do it, the more light comes in, the more grounded you feel, the more you practice this, the more you're able to focus on this and not get distracted. You feel that inner core, you feel that inner wholeness, your higher self, source energy. And that gives you the trust and faith in what you were sharing about that book, the Giant Leap, where perhaps there is something here for me that isn't just the physical world I'm seeing.
No, I was just, as usual, I was just feeling into what you're saying, and I can feel, how much peace at, listening to this and paying attention to how much, as you said, like, I know it's peaceful once we go and lean into it, but it can be very scary, and it can require lots of, courage and putting yourself into, a vulnerable place as well. So we don't want to feel, pain. Sometimes we don't want to feel, sad. We don't want to feel grief. We don't want to feel, I don't know, resentment or frustration or anything else. But, by leaning into it, and I'm not saying being dominated by it, it's a very different feeling in it. Do you see being like, oh, you got angry at, I don't know, at traffic, you're driving and you got angry and so on, and it's just a responsive, thing that is automatic. But it's like, okay, I can feel into that, anger that came through me. I can, rather than like responding straight away, to reacting straight away to others and everything else, you can like, oh, interesting. Okay, where can I feel that anger? Where can I feel that frustration? Where can I feel, or like with Amanda this weekend, that like you have a burst of joy, and then there is this doubt of like, oh, I can't experience joy. And
Yeah.
then rather than being scared of or saying like, why is it that I can't do or anything, you know, letting the mind overthinking that, you actually lean into it. And I'm open to listen to it. And as Amanda was saying, I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying it's something that we all, you know, do it in an easy way or anything else, but we're worth to go there and just paying attention and helping and allowing, I don't know, calling other energies if you feel like, or calling help, you know, or you physically contacting someone. Look, there's this thought in my mind. I know it's not, you know, aligned to who I am. It's like every
Yeah.
time I have a big joy in my life, there is like a boom down in that moment, almost like it's taken away from me. Can you help me? And then there are other ways that you can find help around that. And it's like, and there's several different ways. There is the ways that Amanda and I were sharing. I mean, I came, you know, across, and I've done, you know, helped myself and my family with EFT before, you know, emotion freedom technique. Um, there is, you know, that technique that I used with my friend and, you know, client as well, which is like just kind of feeling into the energy. There is more, you know, spiritual ways of doing it. There is, you know, the open eye meditation that we shared with you at the earlier episodes as well. But you will find a way. And then some people use, you know, crystal healing and different stuff, but just I know that there are ways that you can help, and that there's therapy as well. That, you know, traditional, more, you know, CBT, cognitive behavior therapy as well, and there are different types of therapies that you can go through. Um, but it's about just allowing yourself to lean into it rather than just ignoring it or just, you know, passing it and then no, it's gonna pass, I'll just let it be, and then it comes back again, and then no, I'll let it be, and then it comes back again. It's just literally, it's just life, your body saying, hey, there's something here, do you want to have a look, do you want to have a look, do you want to have a look, are you ready, are you ready, just that's it.
Oh, I love that, Junior. And I think that, as you were saying, just listening into you as well, you everything you said, yeah. And I think you said something today that was another little part of the piece I hadn't missed, which you just shared, was the when I experience extreme joy and happiness and freedom and liberation and bliss and joy and whoa, you know, just that, oh, being me and I'm free. Oh, hang on, something bad's going to happen.
Yeah.
And that, it's that, isn't it? And as you were saying, that you start to, when your intention is, do you know, I remember someone sharing with me, they called it the black dog. He would have cycles of depression. So I think in the end he was diagnosed with a form of bipolarism, but he was saying that he would really fluctuate. He'd have extreme highs, extreme lows. And so he did have therapy and he was given medication. But one of the things he started to recognize in himself was, I'm not the black dog. This black dog isn't all that I am. It doesn't have control and power over me. I've been letting it without knowing maybe there was another part of me. And as he started to tune, just doing more meditations, going to that place of space and calm, just starting to very gently look into the things we're doing. And it was a very gentle process, and started to be able to see that he could look at this, what he called the black dog, and there was a space suddenly around the black dog. Who am I that isn't the black dog? Can I be okay with the black dog? What is this black dog? And it just allowed him to step back. And in the end, he was not consumed by the black dog. He was able to have enough space around it that he could start to look at this black dog that would come in. And it's funny he comes to mind because it's very much we're sharing, isn't it? And also with him, there was a certain amount of chemical rebalancing that had to happen. The more he spent truly practicing, focusing, not allowing the distractions to come in, saying, no, I am going to go into this space. The more he did that, he was able to do the stuff that we're doing. And he did need a lot of help with that, because the black dog had a very strong energy, and it was almost given to him from birth, really. So there was a huge chemical imbalance in his body with that. But over time, reforming new neural pathways, he could continually then connect with a stability, a wholeness that was there. And he knew that this was going to take time. But he knew the black dog, its job was to force him to go within and connect. And he did have help, like you were saying, because he needed that to guide him back within. But over time, he was able to come into this black dog. And I can't remember the specifics of the black dog energy now, to be honest, it's gone. But um, he was really healing that, and his worthiness to heal and be whole. And for him, it was a real balancing. And I know in the end, he said that a lot of people found that when they were just in his energy, he was almost like a frequency of holding stillness and groundedness, because he said in the end, he was somebody, he didn't speak a lot about it, but he was someone whose energy was very grounded, and people would be with him and just say, do you know, I just love being with you because I just feel calmer and I kind of feel everything's okay. And he'd sit there and kind of in a smile, and he knew that the black dog was his gift in the end, because it forced him to go within and find. We talked about treasures, you and I, on Friday, didn't we? It forced him to find the treasures that were underneath that. And that black dog was always saying, I'm actually trying to take you home.
And I love the again the image of the dog as well, because you can, it's interesting that we can put this image that, you know, it's something that is taking my energy away, or, you know, it's a black dog, and it can be, you know, a negative feeling. But at the same time, as I was saying, and we know this from pets as well, how much they calm us down just by being around us, and like having just, you know, connection. And so it was like his gift as well. It can be, you know, the curse become the gift in that sense. And then, yeah, so it's beautiful. I'm just aware of the time again. I just want to make sure that everyone is, you know, kind of respectful of your times, and yeah, and our times as well. So um do you have any final words that you want to say, Amanda, before?
Just said it. The curse is always actually the gift.
Yeah.
That's beautiful wrapping up. I love that. Curse always becomes the gift.
Becomes the gift. And then, so guys, yeah, we spoke a little bit more about joy. And again, if there is something that you feel like, oh, I'm feeling so joyful, and then there's that thought like, oh, something bad's going to happen,
Yeah.
just allow that. It's almost that, you know, image that I shared with you earlier is almost like, you know, that light of the joy and the everything that, you know, the happiness that came through you is nothing more than just shining the light on things that you couldn't see before because it wasn't so clear before. It's not that we're expecting anything bad,
No.
but again, the curse can become the gift on that moment as well. So thank you again for watching with us. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing your energy as well with us and with, you know, the people around you, because if you're watching it, I know we're going to feel that as well at some point. And the people around you, as Amanda was just sharing about this, you know, past client and so on, that, yeah, you can be that source of calm and light around you as well. So thank you again. And I'll see you tomorrow on the next episode as well.
Very much. Lots of love. Bye bye.